Hi there, Jim Fortin here, MindAuthorityNetwork.com, and welcome to this video where I'm going to walk you through step by step the ultimate ViSalus challenge party closing formula. Now, if you're already a member of the Mind Authority Network, as many ViSalians are, you've already seen a variation of this. And if you're not, I promise you have not learned this from ViSalus. And as you're going through this video, you're going to see many ways that what you're going to learn here can help you significantly increase what I call your sales conversion at your challenge parties. And you'll understand that as we go through this video. As we're going through this video, make sure that you take notes. This will be available for download PDF format for all members of the Mind Authority Network. Yet if you're not already a member of the Mind Authority Network, the best that I can offer you is this free video on YouTube. Now, when I say free video, please do not mistake that for no value. As you're going to discover, what you're going to learn here will help you become significantly more effective at your challenge parties. And if someone were to come up to me and ask me to write out this formula for them, if they said, Jim, will you show me how to close everyone at my challenge party, I would say absolutely, I'll do that for you. In exchange, you write me a check for $10,000. So even though some of you may be watching this for free, you're going to want to take notes as you're going through this video, and you're going to want to apply what you learn here. What you're going to learn here has been tested not only with ViSalus, but with another multi-level marketing company. And people that have actually only had marginal results at their challenge parties or similar parties are saying, Jim, I really wasn't doing that well till I started using what you taught me, and now I'm getting amazing results. And I've had people say, I was getting pretty good results, and when I started using the formula that you taught me, I'm now closing 100% of people at my challenge parties. So again, take notes as we go through this, because I'm going to show you quite literally how to get into the mind of your prospect and lead them from where they are to where you want them to go. Now, this quick 45-minute video will forever change how you lead guests at your challenge parties. The operative word there is lead. The operative word there is lead. Now, many of you in traditional selling might have heard the old phrase before, ABC, which is always be closing. Wrong. No one wants to be closed. You're going to begin ABL, always be leading. When you lead people to close, they will close easily and effortlessly. I'm going to give you a step-by-step formula that will actually start getting them to want ViSalus. Notice how I said here getting them to want, opposed to you trying to get them to want to become a member of ViSalus, and it's going to significantly improve the results you get at every single challenge party. So again, take notes as we go through this video, because I'm going to move very quickly. Let me ask you, when it comes to getting people to say yes at your challenge parties, what are your biggest obstacles? What are your biggest challenges when it comes to getting them to nod their head and say, yes, I will join the challenge. I will start using the ViSalus program. What are your biggest challenges? Well, here they are. The first is eliminating resistance. Because see, they're coming to the challenge party, whether it's spoken or not, they're coming there with resistance. I want you to think back to your first challenge party. You went there, and even though that you wanted to go there, you still had resistance. Your next biggest challenge is eliminating skepticism. You've heard it before. Multi-level marketing? Are you kidding me? That's a pyramid scheme. Well, I'm going to show you how to get past that. Next, your biggest challenge is getting compliance, meaning getting them to do what you want them to do, getting them to nod their head saying, yes, I want this, and getting them to fill out the form and sign on the dotted line. And then finally, inciting action, getting them up off the couch, getting that form in their hand, getting them to fill it out, putting all their information on it, and turning it in. So these are your biggest challenges, these are your biggest obstacles, and I'm going to show you in this quick video how to eliminate every bit of this just like that. Now, when your prospect is there, and when I use the word prospect, that's just a word that I use. I'm a sales and conversion expert, so for me, using sales lingo, these people are prospects in front of you. Now, when your prospect is there at your challenge party and they're sitting there in front of you, what's going through their minds? Well, this is what's going through their minds. They're thinking, does this work? They're thinking, will this really work? I've tried everything and I still haven't lost weight, or I've tried everything when it comes to home-based businesses and I still haven't made money. They're thinking, yeah, blah, blah, I've heard it all before. They're also thinking, really? Is this real? Could people really be losing, this kind of weight and making this kind of money? And then you'll have those that will say, MLM, multi-level marketing, that's a pyramid scheme. Everybody knows that doesn't work. You'll hear them saying also, well, this is all well and good, but I have no time. And you'll hear them saying, or they'll be thinking, this is all well and good, but I have no money. So these are all things that are in the head of the person sitting across from you at your challenge party. How do you get through this? Here's the biggest mistake that most people make, not only in multi-level marketing, but in traditional selling. Their prospect comes, and their prospect has all of these objections, all of this resistance in their mind. Now here's the biggest mistake that most people make in sales, and not only multi-level marketing, but in traditional selling. Their prospect will be right there in front of them, and the prospect will have all of these objections. Looking at the screen, these people are coming with these objections. Here's the biggest mistake that most people make. Instead of eliminating these objections while you're going through your challenge party, what most people do is they wait until the end, until it's time to get them registered, then they start trying to eliminate the resistance. Folks, that is the wrong time to eliminate the resistance, because if you do it then, people still have the resistance, they're going to psychologically fight you. Remember just a minute ago I said ABL. As you're leading them through the challenge party, as you're about to see, you're going to start eliminating every one of these step by step as you're walking them through your challenge party. When you get to the time for them to register, they're not going to have any resistance because you've walked them through it. Now again, I'll show you step by step how to do that. And actually, not only step by step, I'm going to show you word for word what you can say to completely eliminate all resistance, all objections, and to get them to say yes. Okay, you can easily eliminate resistance when you understand how people think, and when you understand how to lead them. Now, I use the word unconsciously. Many people say subconsciously. But when you learn how people think subconsciously, you can very easily lead them from no to yes. See, research has demonstrated that up to 95% of all buying decisions are unconsciously made. I'll say that again. Research, and when I say research, I mean some of the most prestigious mind-brain research in the world has demonstrated that up to 95% of all buying decisions are unconsciously made. What that means is when you have people at your challenge party, you have to understand how to lead them unconsciously. Again, many people use the word subconsciously. You have to understand how to lead them in their own mind from no to yes. Again, no worries, because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Now, let me give you an example here of a typical ViSalus challenge party that I've been to. Now, you've seen many parties just like this, and when I show you what I'm going to show you later in the video, you're going to understand why your current challenge parties are nowhere as effective as they can be. See, one of the challenge parties that I went to recently, the people hosting the party, what they did is they got up and they were all excited and they were all passionate, and I completely understand that. I mean, we're all passionate and we're all excited about the product, but they were completely passionate and they were completely excited, and they got up and they said, hi, my name's John Smith, and I've been doing ViSalus for so-and-so amount of time, and I've lost so much weight, and I've made so much money, and I've helped a lot of people, and I am so excited about the product. Well, what they did is they got up and they started talking about, this is the way the brain works. Let me back up here. For those of you that are old enough, think back to the Charlie Brown commercials. Remember Charlie Brown when his teacher would talk? What did his teacher sound like? His teacher sounded like this. Wah 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 wah. Well, that's what the brain hears when the brain is not engaged. You'll understand what I mean in just a moment. So what people do at their typical challenge parties, they get up and they're all excited and they want to talk about Body by V and they want to talk about the challenge and they're all excited and they want to talk about ViSalus. But let me ask you, what about the person sitting across from you? Now that's going to be a huge shift for most of you, because what we're going to do is we're going to stop talking about ourselves initially, and we're going to start talking about the people that are there. Because as you're about to discover, when we do that, it pulls them in automatically and they begin selling themselves. So again, I'm going to walk you through this step by step. So this is what you want to do. You want to open your party and you want to lead your guest. Now, people will only go where they're led. That's a big takeaway that I want you to get from this video, is that if you put nothing down in terms of a persuasive lead, if you put nothing down, they pick nothing up. What that means is if you do not plant suggestions and lead them and create expectation to the outcome that you want to take them to, do not expect them to decide on their own that they want to become a member of ViSalus, despite even showing them the video. Because remember, even though you're showing them the video later in your challenge party, they've still come with all the resistance that we talked about early. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things here, and again, I'm going to walk you through all of this. And I tell you that several times because even though this can kind of seem overwhelming, it's really, really simple. As a matter of fact, when you break all of this down, when you do what I show you to do, it's probably quite literally no more than 7, 8, 10 minutes of talking, which you're going to do anyway, but I'm going to show you how to do it in a different way. First, when you start your challenge party, practice. Now, again, you don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect, and actually we do not like people that are perfect. But practice what you're going to say. If you're up fumbling around in front of the room, guess what you're conveying unconsciously? Guess what your body language is conveying? Your body language is conveying that, you know what, I'm not quite sure what to do next, and I may even be nervous. Folks, we like to follow people who are confident. So go through it 2, 3, 4 times at home by yourself. Go through your challenge party and practice it and practice it and practice it, and know what you're going to say in the sequence you're going to say it in. And especially after what you're going to learn here, you're going to want to practice this, because again, as you're going to discover, this is your 1-2 punch. This will basically just knock everyone out there, metaphorically speaking, and get them to sign on the dotted line. Now you want to learn how you want to set a frame. You want to create expectation. The reason you want to create expectation at your challenge parties is because the mind looks for expectation. See, in research done in the past, when people were given a placebo and they were told that it was morphine, they got relief 75% of the time. The mind looks for what it expects. Now I'll say it again, and I've said it a half a dozen times. This might not make sense to you now, but I'll show you how to do this and I'll walk you through it. You want to suggest an outcome. How come? Because you want to lead people. You want to engage your guest, which is what I just talked about a second ago. Now the reason you want to engage your guest early on is, let me ask you this. I want you to think back to a time in the past when you went to a retail store. Let's say that you went to the Apple store to buy something. Now when you were driving there, were you thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the Apple store because you know what? There's something in it for Apple. Or were you going there because you wanted something and you were going there because of what's in it for you? Well, the big mistake, the huge mistake that most people make at their challenge parties is they get up in front of the room and they start and talking like that, all about themselves and their success and everything, and they forget that the guest, guess what? Your guests aren't there for you. Your guests are there for themselves. And guys, that is a big shift for most of you. I know we're excited, but your guests, they're not there for you. They're there, and I'll show you in a moment, they're there for what ViSalus can do for them. And when you engage them, that automatically, psychologically, pulls them in. Next, you're going to tell your story. Now here's the big mistake that most people make. Notice that most people at their challenge parties, they start their challenge party with their story. Wrong. You're starting at the wrong end of the equation because you haven't gotten into their brain yet. Remember earlier I said they're coming with resistance and they're coming, with objections. You've got to start eliminating those first before you can ever start telling your story. And there are certain psychological things that you can do, paradigms and approaches. So then you're going to tell your story in 3 parts. I'll tell you what those 3 parts are in just a moment. You want to turn up the pain. People move from pain to pleasure. Look at headlines in the newspaper. The headlines are never about the rosy stories. What do I mean by that? People actually move from pain to pleasure. People never first notice the pleasure. If you're trying to sell them all the wonderful things about ViSalus, they're going to tune out. You put them in pain, and I'll show you in just a moment that every person who comes to your challenge party comes with pain. You put them in pain, they'll move just like that. Next, you want to get compliance and you want to lead them. Getting compliance means you want to get them saying yes, yes, nod their head, yes, yes, I want this, I like this, this makes sense, I need ViSalus. And then you want to lead them to the close. Now you want to obviously show your video, which is going to help you close. And then finally, lead to registration. Now I know that the way the ViSalus model is set up, it helps lead them to the registration, yet if you haven't eliminated the resistance they're coming with, and you have not eliminated the objections, they still will not close. And if they do close, they're going to close begrudgingly, and you're going to find they're going to fall off the challenge or they're going to quit quickly. Okay, so this is what you want to do. I'm going to give this to you word for word. When you formally open your house party, I'm going to tell you exactly what to say, how to say it. You can even use your own words, but really, again, I am a master of words. That's what I do. I teach unconscious persuasion and influence, and people know me as an expert when it comes to putting words together to lead people where you want them to go. This is what I would say, and then I'll tell you why I would say this, and then I'll tell you what's hidden in here. I would say something along the lines of, hi, I want to welcome everyone here today. I could tell you that today could be life-changing, or I could tell you that today is going to be a life-changing event for you, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you discover it for yourself over the next hour. And then I would go on to say, now if everyone didn't know me, my name is Jim Fortin, and before I tell you about myself, I'd like to learn a little bit about some of you and what brings you out here today. Now, when I said there were some things hidden in here, what you might not know about me is that I'm a certified master hypnotist. Yes, I said hypnotist, and I'm also an NLP master practitioner. Now, some people say hypnosis, I don't believe in that, or this or that, or it's hocus pocus. Well, hypnosis is endorsed by the American Medical, the British Medical, the American Dental, the American Psychological, and the American Psychiatric Associations. Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Columbia, MIT, major research institutions around the world have validated the efficacy of hypnosis. So if you're not going to take the word of the AMA or Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Columbia, or major research institutes, that's fine. You're going to lose out. Go ahead and click off now and go do something else with your time. Yet, if you want to have an open mind and you really want to learn how to use the techniques that a hypnotist would use to get people to do things, you're going to learn that in this video. So now when I said things are hidden, as a hypnotist, we use what's called influential language. That means when we're talking to people, we literally plant suggestions for what they tell us they want, and we use psychological paradigms. Well, all through this challenge party, there are psychological paradigms hidden to, let's go back earlier. Remember I said all the objections are going to give you and all the resistance? Well, the psychological paradigms you're going to learn here will lead you through eliminating all of that resistance. And the great thing is, they don't even know that you're eliminating the resistance while you're doing it. When I say they, the people at your challenge party. So here's what's hidden in here. I could tell you that today could be life-changing. What you're doing is you're setting an expectation. You're setting a frame. Think back to maybe when you've seen a movie about a jury. A jury trial, or maybe you've been on a jury. You never see, when they have the opening arguments, you never see a lawyer get up and say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you some things, and at the end, make up your own mind. No, they get up and they say, ladies and gentlemen, this trial is about lies, deceit, and deception. Now, when they do that, what they're doing is they're creating a frame and they're creating an expectation. Because now what are people looking for in testimony? They're looking for lies, deceit, and deception. So what you're doing when you say something like this, you're giving the brain a frame. Now, they're looking for tonight or today or the challenge party to be what? They're looking for it to be life-changing. Now, as I said, as a hypnotist, we use what are called language patterns. For example, I could tell you that language patterns are the most powerful tool you'll ever use to close more business, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you discover it for yourself. Well, that's what we call a hidden language pattern. When I said, for example, I could tell you that language patterns are the most influential tool or the most powerful tool you'll ever use, I've just told you something. I've made a statement. And then I said, but I'm not going to do that. Well, actually, I just did. And then I said, I'm going to let you discover it for yourself. See, folks, we tend not to believe things that people say to us because we have 30,000 marketing messages coming at us daily. But yet, when we discover things for ourselves, we tend to believe it. So what I said there next is, I could tell you that tonight could be life-changing, or it could be a life-changing event for you, but I'm not going to do that. Well, what did you just tell them? You just told them that it's going to be life-changing, and then next you told them to discover it for themselves. Next, you say in the next hour. What I want you to do is I want you to put a time frame on there, because I want you to think back to a time in the past you went to an event and you weren't sure how long you were going to be there. What happened was you got antsy because you didn't know how long you were going to be there. Yet if you knew you were going to be there an hour, you had a time frame in the brain, and the brain had something to work with. Next part is I go into reverting focus back to them opposed to myself, because I want to make the party about them. Because again, when you make it about them, they get all excited and they start talking about their problems, and they start talking about the solutions that they want, and they start automatically making ViSalus the solution. Now remember, I just went over that. I told you that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let you discover it for yourself in the next hour, and then we reverted the focus back to them. See, the reason you want to engage them, because engagement creates desire. So what you want to do is you want to get them talking about themselves. You want to get them talking about their wants, their reasons for being there. Because see, their wants, their reasons drive their desires. So what you could say is something along these lines. You could say, John, let me ask you this. What brings you out tonight? And sit there and listen and nod your head as they're saying whatever it is they're saying. Maybe your family members there. You can even say, Mom, let me ask you, other than you can make a joke, other than, not wanting to stay at home and cook dinner for Dad, let me ask you, what caused you to get in the car, put your makeup on, and come on over here tonight? And listen. Folks, again, they're affirming their desire. They're affirming what they want. Get as many people as you can talking about the reason they're there at your challenge party. Also, do not let people dominate, because you can say something like, for example, just take 30 seconds. Tell me what brings you out tonight. Let's go around the room. If you've got 3, 5, 8, 10 people there, that's only 4 or 5 minutes. But what will happen also is they'll all start talking, and you're going to see a synergy start to happen. After engaging your guest, you can say something like, well, in the beginning, those were the exact things that brought me out. And the fact that you're here means that some part of you is already thinking that ViSalus might be your best chance to lose weight. Now what goes in the blank there is what they want, what they said they wanted when they were talking. Lose weight, more freedom, make more money, whatever it might be. I mean, after all, would you block out time, get in your car, and drive over here if you didn't think at some level that ViSalus couldn't help you lose weight, make money, etc.? I wouldn't, is what I would say. Now, okay, what's hidden in here? When I say, well, in the beginning, those were the exact things that brought me out. See, what we're doing here, folks, we're beginning to use what's called a third-party metaphor. What you're going to do is you're going to use your story as a metaphor, and in your story, as you're about to discover, you're going to start addressing all the objections that they have, and you're going to make it look like, which you probably did, that you had all of those very same objections, yet you got over them. So when you say in the beginning, those were the exact same things that brought me out, you're telling them, you know what? I'm just like you. What's inferred there? What's inferred is, and it's not spoken, is, you know what? I'm just like you, and I was sitting there, and I took action. See how you're starting to lead people. Those were the exact same things that brought me out. The fact that you're here means that some part of you is already thinking. When you say it exactly like that, when you say the fact that you're here means, you're giving meaning to their behavior. Because see, you're actually getting them to say yes to something in their own mind. Remember I said compliance. They can't argue. They can't say, I'm not sitting here, because they are sitting there right in front of you. The next part of it is, some part of you is already thinking. Now, notice how they can't argue with that either. They can't say I'm not thinking that, because if they weren't thinking it, they wouldn't be there. And that very simple those 4 lines, notice how you are leading the people at your challenge party. Next, when I go down below, if you didn't think at some level, well, that's true, because if they didn't think at some level, which means they're already thinking it, it's inferred they are thinking it. If they didn't think at some level, they wouldn't be there. Can you see just how powerful that is? And then finally, that ViSalus couldn't blank. When you say it exactly as I have it here, write it out, practice it. As I said, those of you that are members of the Mind Authority Network, you can print this out. Everyone else, write this out. Watch this video over and over a few times. Write this out word for word, print it out, learn it. You will actually, your jaw's going to drop when you see what happens when you use exactly what I'm giving you here, because you are quite literally getting into your prospect's mind. Okay, now, not at the beginning, now it's time to tell your story. And you're going to tell your story in 3 parts, and you're going to use your story as a third-party metaphor to eliminate all their objections and all the resistance. So what we're going to do is this. You're going to tell your story, then you're going to tell your story with pain, and then you're going to tell your success. Notice how most people start with their success. That's not where you want to start. You know why? Because, see, people at your challenge parties, I mean this kindly, but it's reality. They don't care about your success per se. What they care about is what's in it for them. So we actually have to pace, what I call pace, their resistance and their objections. We have to put them in pain, and then we're going to tell your success story, which is going to be the solution. So the formula here is put them in pain. Actually, we're gonna pace them. We're going to put them in pain, and then we're going to be the solution, the obvious solution to their pain. So your story, part 1, goes just like this. I have to say, like some of you, the first challenge party I came to, I was sitting there skeptical and thinking, I've tried everything, no results. We've all been there, right? And then you go into, and while the person was talking, like I am now, I started thinking, what if? What if this could really change my life like many people are saying? Then I got into all of my excuses. I don't have the time. It might not be real. Can I do it? Can I lose weight? I don't have the money, etc. You know what I'm talking about, right? Folks, look at what's hidden in here. I'm going to show you. Okay, when I say I have to say, like some of you, what you've literally done is when you say that, they are saying yes in their own mind, you are like me, because that is exactly what I'm thinking. So when you sit there, when you stand there and you say, I was sitting there skeptical and thinking, they're also thinking, yes, I'm sitting here skeptical and thinking. You're literally, I call it pacing, but you're mirroring the exact thinking that's going on in their brain. This is what I call entering the conversation that they are already having in their own mind. It is literally as if you could crawl in their brain and hear what they're saying to themselves, and then dialogue with them as they're dialoguing. So basically you're telling them, I was skeptical like you, because they're saying yes, and then you've said no results. Because see, what you're doing is you're making ViSalus the solution to no results which people have gotten in the past. And then you say, we've all been there, right? Now what I want you to do is I want you to wait for compliance. Because see, they're all going to say yes. Again, we're getting compliance. So I want you to say, we've all been there, right? You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And nod your head visually so they can follow you visually. Then, while the person was talking, I started thinking. What you're doing is, this is metaphorically, you're telling them, hey, start thinking. You are planting the suggestion for them to start thinking what you want them to think. What if this could really change my life? Also, make sure that you use your inflection here. Because see, when you talk to people, the brain hears inflection before it hears anything else. What you do not want to do is learn this and then just learn it rotely and say, and while the person was talking like I am now. No, you learn it, you deliver it with inflection, and that'll pull people right in. Then you go into, I got into all of my excuses. Because see, what are they getting into? They're getting into what? Their excuses, right? And then you say, I don't have time, it might not be real, can I do it, can I lose weight, I don't have the money. Well, guess what? Those are all the excuses they've already gotten into in their mind. Those are all the excuses that they had in their mind when they knocked on your front door. Now you're telling them you had the very same excuses, and what's inferred here, as you'll see in just a moment, is that you also got through it. And then again, you get compliance. You know what I'm talking about, right? Nod your head, because they're all going to nod their head yes. Basically, this puts you on the very same page with them. Now, again, and as you're noticing here, really, it's not a lot of words. This, it'll take you a few hours to learn this, but it won't take you more than, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to speak this. Next part of your story, part 2. And that's when I realized, sooner or later, I needed to do something different, or I would eventually find myself even heavier and even worse off financially. And that scared the heck out of me. And that moment, as some of you will hear today, I realized I am tired of feeling bad and being broke. And then I thought, I could think about this all day and do nothing, or I can finally do something different. Now, you folks are learning. You folks are a smart bunch. What's hidden in here? Let's go through this. And that's when I realized what you're doing is you're telling them that you realized, and you're prompting them to realize that sooner or later, notice it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when, sooner or later, I needed to do something different, or I would eventually find myself heavier and even worse off. No one wants to eventually find themselves heavier and even worse off. Folks, every word that I have in here, I have carefully chosen these words to drive people exactly where I want them to go. Now again, you can use whatever words you want, but if you want the success that I told you about earlier, learn this word for word, practice it. Again, you're going to be shocked at what's going to happen at your challenge parties. So again, nobody eventually wants to find themselves heavier and even worse off. Notice how those are pain words. I mean, no one wants to be heavier, and in particular, no one wants to be worse off. And that scared the heck out of me. Then you're going into solution. In that moment, as some of you will hear today, I realized what you're doing is you're planning an aha moment. I realized, I'm tired of feeling bad and being broke. Now you're telling them, guess what? I want you to also realize that you're tired of, feeling bad and being broke. And then I thought, which, now mind you, they're all following you through this. I could think about this all day long and do nothing, or I can finally do something different. Notice how you're eliminating all your objections here, but you're also eliminating people saying, I want to think about it, because you're telling them, just like you, that you could sit there all day long and do nothing, or you could finally do something different. Folks, it's all in here. Just print it out, learn it word for word. Now, we talked about pain, but see, pain is your best leverage, and I mentioned this earlier. Everyone joins ViSalus because they're moving away from one of two pains or both. Everyone knocking on your door when they come to your challenge party has a money pain, or they have a physical pain for the most part, meaning they don't have the money they want, so they're in pain because they don't feel good about their lives, because they can't buy what they want, or they feel financially insecure in these uncertain times. Or they're in physical pain. They don't feel good, they're overweight, and if they're not in physical pain, they're in emotional pain because they feel bad about themselves. See, the brain is hardwired to move from pain to pleasure, and you want to use pain as part of your story. If you do not, you will never close the amount of people that you can. Notice I didn't also say you want to use fear. You want to use pain, and you want ViSalus to be the solution. Now, your story, part 3, talking about the solution. This is what I would say. Now, after that presentation was done, some people got up and left. And I wondered and then I would say, I wonder. I would kind of say it pensively. I wonder if their life is any better off today. And then I'd go into, I would, change my pensive look. And then I would say, and it was obvious to me, I had to get involved, as some of you will hear today. Now, because I got involved, I have lost blank. I've lost, 17 pounds or 50 pounds or 100 pounds. I've made a really good living for myself and my family, and I've helped change hundreds of lives, and you can do the same. Notice right here the last 3 lines. That's where most people start. Folks, you never start there because you've not gotten into their brain yet. What's hidden in here? After that presentation was done, well, guess what? The presentation is going to be done, so again, you're doing what I call pacing them. Some people got up and left. Well, that's true, because now you're making it look more real. If you said no one got up and left, that's not believable. But if you said some people got up and left, that makes it believable. And it was obvious to me, you're planning the suggestion, guess what? It's going to be obvious to you that I had to get involved. and then as some of you will today. Well, what are you doing? You're planning a suggestion that some of those will today get involved. Okay, you want to suggest your outcome for them before you put the DVD in. So this is what you could say. Before you watch the video, one suggestion. While you're watching the video, put aside any analysis, do not overthink this, and pay attention to how ViSalus can blank and blank and blank. And when we're done, if you're like most people, I think you'll agree that this might just be exactly what you need to blank. Well, in those 7 lines or however many it is, I have completely told them what to think. Here, let me show you. Before you watch this video, well, it's already implied they're going to watch the video. While you're watching the video, I'm telling them what I want them to do while they're watching the video. What I want them to do is put aside any analysis, any overthinking, anything, and I want them to pay attention, and I'm even telling them what I want them to pay attention to. And then I say when we're done, because guess what? You will be done with the DVD. I mean, nobody brought their jammies and sleeping bags, and no one's staying overnight. You will be done. Folks, now what's hidden in here also is some advanced hypnotic language pattern. I'm not going to teach it to you, but there's a lot of advanced linguistics hidden in here. Then, if you're like most people, I think you'll agree, what you're telling them, see, no one's going to say, well, no, I'm not like most people. They're going to say yes. So you're telling them, if you're like most people, I think you'll agree. You're even telling them that they're going to agree that ViSalus might be exactly what they need. Quite literally, you have led their thinking from A to Z. All right, play your video, and then right after the video is done, the DVD is done, you can say a variation of these, but you must say these. This is your glue to get them to say yes to sign on the dotted line. This all makes sense, doesn't it? Make sure they all nod their heads and say yes. If somebody's not nodding their head, I want you to look at them and I want you to say, this all makes sense, doesn't it? Nod your head yes, which is also a visual cue. Or you can say a variation of, can you see exactly how this can help you lose weight, feel better, or be healthier? And actually there's a little bit of a typo there. The way that it's asked, it shouldn't be asking a question like that. Again, I'm not perfect either. But you can say, can you see exactly how this can help you lose weight, feel better, be healthier, and make more money? Nod your head and get them to say yes, because see, as they're saying yes, when they say yes, I can see exactly how this can help me, they cannot not register or get involved. Or you can also say, and this is a biggie, can you see why this is important to you? If you've got people there and a lot of them are really overweight, you could say, can you see why this is important, or how important this is for you, or something along those lines. But you want to use the word important, and you want to make it important to them. And again, get them to nod their head yes. Do not go any further in your challenge party unless you've done this, because once they're all nodding their head yes, for the most part, if they're a qualified prospect, and what that means is they actually belong at your challenge parties, they must close. There's no way around it. Notice here what's hidden. It all makes sense, doesn't it? And again, can you see exactly how? And then the important part at the bottom. Okay. What you're looking for here, as I just said, is you're looking for an agreement. By the way, we're almost done. You're looking for an agreement that they like it, it makes sense, it's reasonable, it's important. You're making them agree by saying yes, that it's a solution to their problem. Now remember, their problem is pain. And then finally you can ask, before we get started, before we get you started losing weight or making money, was there anything that was not answered that can stop you from getting registered now, or getting in the system now, or whatever your words that you choose to use? Now, most people at this point will have 0 objections and they'll have 0 resistance, because you've eliminated the resistance with your story. And for the most part, the DVD has eliminated their objections. And then when you get them to be compliant and say that they love it at the end of the DVD, there's nothing for them to do except fill out the paperwork. Now, one final thing here. They may ask you questions. No longer do you answer yes or no. I was at a challenge party recently and someone said, can this help my son gain weight? He started working out and he wants to gain weight. And they said yes. You never say yes. This is what you say. You say yes. He's going to find that when he uses the product, he's going to blank. or he's going to discover, or he's going to realize. You never say yes it will and leave it alone. Remember earlier in the video I said people never believe what people say, they believe what they discover for themselves. So you never just answer yes or no anymore. You say yes, he's going to discover, or if they ask about themselves, yes, you're going to discover, you're going to find, you're going to realize blank. So this is a different and more effective way for you to answer any questions you might have at the end of your challenge party. And then finally, lead them to get registered. Now, just a minute ago, you said you could see how important that it is, or you said you could see how ViSalus could help you blank and blank. Now, what you could say here is, if they're not already filling out the paperwork, if you knew absolutely for certain that ViSalus could help you lose weight and make money, you'd get involved, wouldn't you? Notice how when you ask that question, they must say yes. I'll come back to that in just a moment. Great. Let's get you started. Now, a big mistake that a lot of people make at ViSalus is they try to get people registered at the $99 level or the $4.99. Wrong. I know that you folks believe in ViSalus. Get them involved. Get them committed at the $9.99 level. After all, you believe in the challenge, right? If you believe in the challenge, promote the entire challenge and get them involved. So what's hidden in here? Just a minute ago, you said you could see how. When they said yes, they can't argue with you. Once they've said yes, I see how ViSalus can help me, there's no backing up. Then I said if you knew absolutely for certain that ViSalus could help you lose weight and make money, you'd get involved, wouldn't you? Well, when they all say yes, they've literally boxed themselves in. It's called a bind. See, the reason people do not do things is because they do not know for certain. When people know things for certain, they will act. So when you ask it in that particular way, you're getting them to close themselves very easily. And then great, give them a command. Let's get you started, and make sure you have everything passed out if you don't already have it passed out. Now, obviously, you assume the close, pass out the forms if they're not already passed out, and get them to sign on the dotted line. Couple of objections you might have. I have to think about it, I don't have time, I don't have the money, and still not convinced. Well, you're probably not going to hear the last one. If you've done exactly what I've showed you to do, you will not hear the last one, but you may hear the first three. Well, obviously, this is a long video. I have no time to go into it on this video, but I will on other videos at the Mind Authority Network. Now again, as I said, there are many ViSalians that have become members of the Mind Authority Network, which is a monthly paid membership site. It is actually so inexpensive that anyone at ViSalus can afford the monthly membership. And there's a private membership section for ViSalians only, where I address things that I know, challenges that I know that you've had building your business, not only when it comes to sales conversion, but when it also comes to peak performance. Now, there are many supporting videos for those of you that are already members of the Mind Authority Network. There are many supporting videos that support all the psychological paradigms that I use in this video so that you can learn more, and you can learn more comprehensively. So what you want to do is you want to go up to the search box and you want to type in third-party metaphor. You'll find the video that comes up here. Watch that video and you'll better understand third-party metaphor. You can go all the way through here because I have 7 videos that will help you better understand what's hidden in the challenge party video. Now again, this is Jim Fortin, MindAuthorityNetwork.com. To learn more, if you're not already a member of the Mind Authority Network and you want to significantly increase your sales and significantly increase your performance and put your fear and your procrastination behind you and all the things that have been holding you back, go now to the MindAuthorityNetwork.com. You can actually watch the video there if you want. If not, just go to the bottom of the page, click Join Now, pick your plan, and then when you come on board, you'll just actually search for the word ViSalus, and you'll find an entire library of ViSalus specific videos. Not only that, there's a library of 150 peak performance, cutting edge, and advanced peak performance and sales conversion videos. Okay, thanks for watching. If you have any questions about this video, go below, leave any comments you might have, and I will see you over on another video. Bye-bye.